The karate champion on stage did not know who he had just pointed at. The tournament organizers did not know. The 3 judges sitting behind the scoring table did not know. The 300 spectators filling the ballroom of the Sheraton Park Hotel in Washington, D.C. did who had just been asked to come on stage so that a champion could use him as a demonstration dummy. The man who weighed 135 pounds and looked like a guest who had happened to come in to watch. In the next 11 minutes, the most dominant point fighter in the history of American karate would be humiliated in front of all the people he ever wanted to impress. His undefeated record, his legendary, a man he had assumed knew nothing about fighting. He had picked the wrong man. It happened on the night of 14th March 1964. This is the story that was never meant to be told. Washington, D.C., the Sheraton Park Hotel. Saturday night, the 14th of March 1964. The grand ballroom had been transformed into a martial arts arena. Folding chairs were arranged in concentric rows around a raised wooden platform. Neon lights hung above them. It smelled of floor wax, sweat, and stale hotel coffee. This was the National Karate Championship. Not the biggest tournament in America, but almost. Participants from 9 states, 7 different styles. Shotokan, Goju Ryu, Kenpo, Ishin Ryu, Tang Soo Do, Taekwondo, Wado Ryu, 300 spectators, judges, referees, participants, coaches, and their families. Everyone who plays a role, not once has an opponent managed to block this kick. Applause, respectful, deserved. Then Victor made a decision that would haunt him for the rest of his career. But I don't want to just demonstrate on a heavy bag. Anyone can kick a bag. I want to show you what this kick looks like against a living body, a real person, standing in front of me, trying to stop it. He paused. He looked around. 300 faces looked at him. I need a volunteer. Someone who thinks they're fast, no matter what style, no matter what rank. Come here. Try to block them for long. He needed a volunteer. This small man would be perfect. Small enough to make the demonstration dramatic. Civilian enough to make the crowd gasp. The audience would see this tiny figure standing next to the champion. They would worry. And when Victor's kick blurred past his face, missing by an inch, they would erupt. Great entertainment. Great showmanship. Victor pointed. You, the small one, 3rd row. How about it? Want to see the fastest kick in America up close? A few people laughed. Victor was smiling. This was part of the show. The sudden 220 pounds against 135. Victor's GI was white and pressed, his black belt heavy with rank. Bruce was wearing street clothes, dark pants, dark-fitted shirt, no belt, no rank, no patches, no school name, and nothing. He looked like a waiter who had walked onto the wrong stage. Victor held out his hand. Bruce shook it. Victor noticed 2 things. First, Bruce's handshake was unusually strong for a man of his size. Not crushing, but firm. Like grasping Bruce Lee. He practices Chinese martial arts. Let's give him a round of applause for his courage. Polite clapping. The audience felt sorry for the little man. They assumed he didn't know what he was getting himself into. They assumed he was going to have a very unpleasant experience with the fastest kick in American karate. Victor turned back to Bruce, lowered his voice, man to man, in private. Listen, I'll hold back. I won't hit you. You just have to stand there and try to react. Try to block or dodge the kick. Just do what you're warm and authoritative. The voice of a man who had spent 20 years building bridges between martial arts communities. What you have just seen is extraordinary. For those who don't know, this gentleman is Bruce Lee. He is a martial arts instructor from Oakland, California. He teaches Wing Chun Kung Fu and a personal system he developed called Jeet Kune Do. Murmurs rippled through the audience. Most had never heard any of these terms before. Mr. Lee, would you be willing to tell this audience more about it? Perhaps you could see there and then fully executed, as if someone had cut out the middle of the movement. That's what I mean by intercepting, said Bruce. I don't wait for an attack and then react. I intercept the attack during its preparatory phase. While your body is still preparing to execute a technique, my technique is already on its way. When your kick is in the air, my counterattack has already arrived. That's not speed. That grin of a man who had just discovered that the world was bigger than he thought, that there were rooms in the house he had not yet entered. Now he understands. We'll see, said Bruce. And something in his voice suggested that the story was not over yet. The tournament ended an hour later. The ballroom slowly emptied. The fighters packed up their equipment. Families gathered their children. The referees collected their scorecards. But the conversations in this room had nothing to do with the tournament results. Every conversation was about the same thing. Next month, every martial artist in America will know your name. Bruce was silent for a moment. Then he said something that Dan Inosanto would remember for the rest of his life. Something that said everything about Bruce Lee. His philosophy, his ambition, his understanding of what had just begun. Good, said Bruce. Then next time they won't have to ask who I am. He drove out of the car park. The Sheraton Park Hotel shrank in the rearview mirror. Inside, 300 people were still talking about what they had seen. They would talk about it tomorrow. They would talk about it next week. They would talk about it for the next 60 years. Because on 14th March 1964, a karate champion pointed to a small man in the third row line provides a structural advantage, regardless of size or strength. He demonstrated Chi Sao, sticky hands. He asked Victor to extend both arms and press them against Bruce's forearms. Then he asked Victor to try to touch Bruce's face, while Bruce tried to touch Victor's face. The exercise looked simple. Two men whose forearms were touching, trying to find an opening. Victor couldn't touch Bruce. Not once. Every time Victor moved, Bruce's arms were already there. They deflected, fluidly. They found the gap that Victor's movement had created and exploited it. Victor's hands kept hitting Bruce's forearms. Bruce's hands kept appearing in front of Victor's face, his chest, his throat, lightly, gently, but undeniably. This is sensitivity training, Bruce explained as his hands continued to flow around Victor's defenses. In Wing Chun, we train to sense our opponent's intention through physical contact. When your arm touches mine, I can sense where you're moving before you get there. Your muscles tense before they move. Your weight shifts before you execute your technique. I don't need to see your attack. I can feel it coming. Victor's face was an example of cognitive dissonance. He was a champion. His reflexes were top-notch. And this man, smaller, lighter, with half-closed eyes during the Chi Sao exercise, read him like a book with large print. Bruce demonstrated the 1-inch punch. He placed his fist against Victor's chest, 1 inch between his knuckles and Victor's body. No room for momentum, no room for swing, no room for anything the karate world would recognize as power generation. Get ready, Bruce said. Victor stood firmly on his feet, tensed his core, distributed his weight. He was 220 pounds of trained muscle ready for impact. Bruce struck. 1 inch. The sound was soft, a dull, compact thud. Not dramatic, not cinematic. Victor flew backwards. Not metaphorically, physically. His feet lost contact with the ground. His body flew backwards through the air. He landed on a folding chair a meter behind him. The chair collapsed. Victor landed on his back on the floor, squinting into the neon lights and trying to comprehend what had just happened to his understanding of physics. The audience exploded. People stood up. They shouted. They pointed fingers. Some laughed, not at Victor, but at the sheer impossibility of what they had just seen. A 2.5 centimeter long blow had sent a 100-kilogram man flying through the air. The laws of physics as they understood them had just made an exception. Bruce helped Victor to his feet. Victor grinned, not the arrogant grin from earlier, a different grin,